creative side is Steve Messon, who was the founder of the FRED organisation here in Cumbria. And he's come on board and said he can help greatly with all the communications with local councils, local heritage.
I'm trying to get sort of round that answer. I want Steve Messon in there, but I can feed him in another way. But I'm trying to get a picture of the amount of bureaucracy that's going to be involved. I mean, have you got any idea how many forms you're going to fill in, or how many different permissions you need, or anything like that?
Well, hopefully I shan't have to fill in any. I've got this sort of phobia about straight lines and forms and sign on the dotted line and this, and I very rarely get past page 2 without finding some assistance. So I'm hoping there will be somebody who will come along over the course of the next 6 months and will be able to do all that for us.
And why is it personally important for you to do this?
It's personally important for me because of the hypervigilance aspect. Every soldier that returns from conflict, one of the biggest things that they have to deal with is this ultra high awareness of everything that's going on around them. It was something that even now isn't such an important part of my life. As an artist, I can escape into my own little world, and when I escape into my little world, there are no wars, there are no problems, and I just like to share that with other veterans and show them that there are things out there that can take them away from the visions of war and mayhem.
And how will this help that?
Hopefully that moment when they see the castles draped in poppies. I've produced some artist impressions of the finished product, and when you see this bright red castle, which is completely out of place with the landscape and the countryside, and it just doesn't exist, you have to just concentrate on that and that alone. And for that moment, there are no other problems in the world, no matter how great they are.
That's great.
I like that. What else would
I didn't press record on yours until we were about halfway through. So do you want to ask him one of those questions again, just so he has it for his tape as well?
Yeah, which...
Why is he doing this?
Yeah.
Because I didn't really get to hear enough about his... I mean, it might be nice to just have a sense of what part of the military he was in.
Yeah.
I don't think I got that.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Just because, like, why is he doing this? What was his connection to...
Yeah.
What is his connection to poppies?
I was going to say, because one of the points about this is that you know exactly how difficult it can be to come back from the forces, and how important the Royal British Legion and people like that are. You tell me a bit of that story.
Yeah, very much so. I served with the 2nd Battalion, the Parachute Regiment, as far back as 1973. I did 2 tours of Northern Ireland, and back in those days there was no mental health awareness for post-war veterans, so for many years I struggled through life without actually realising that the Northern Ireland conflict had it had a great part to play in my inability to survive in a normal world. So much so that I found myself pulled back to the military in 1990 for a spell during the Gulf War. After the Gulf War, I became involved with Gulf veterans, and I suddenly realised that all these mental post-traumatic stress disorder and everything, I suddenly realised that I'd already had it for 20 years, and it was like, it was such a moment of revelation, really. I suddenly realised where my problems came from. Realising that took me to the British Legion for help. And from that moment on, I've managed to find stability in my life, stability in relationships, and just get on with enjoying life.
So when you see poppies, what do poppies mean to you?
For me, the poppies are every veteran that's ever fallen in the last 100 years, from the First World War, Second World War, Sierra Leone, Northern Ireland, the Falklands conflict. They're reminiscent of every man that's ever fallen. And it is such an important part of the year, is that day of remembrance. Hopefully that this event will promote that poppy that little bit more. I did notice, particularly last year when I was looking at this project, that people tend to hang on and hang on and hang on till the very last day before they go and buy their poppy. But they should be sold out the day that it comes into the streets, because it's a moment of pride to wear that poppy, is to share something with a veteran and show an appreciation for the families that have been left behind.
And why Kendal Castle?
It's the most prominent part of the town. It's the biggest structure I could find that.
Do you want to say that, but say Kendal Castle is?
So you start again, but by saying Kendal Castle.
Yeah, Kendal Castle is the most prominent part of the town. From the castle, you can see the whole town, and from the whole town, you can see the castle. So there'll be very few people in Kendal that won't see the castle covered in poppies.
Yeah. I told you this guy was good, didn't I?
He's very good, yes.